Good morning, students. Continuation of chapter 5, Commerce, page number 34. So, you all know what is a partnership. For a partnership to form a partnership, you need two people, two members, okay? Minimum of two members and maximum of 10 for banking business and 20 for non-banking business. Now, to enter into a partnership, you need an agreement. An agreement is must. Okay. The agreement can be either in oral or in writing. Now, this partnership agreement is called as the partnership deed. Okay. So, partnership agreement is called as partnership deed. Now, I told you the partnership agreement can be either oral or in writing. But it is better if it is in writing, because in case of any dispute among the partners or in case of any conflicts, then the written evidence is there, okay, to settle the disputes. So it is preferable to be in writing. Okay. Now we'll see, and this partnership agreement, partnership deed should be registered and it should be stamped. Okay, it should be properly stamped and registered. Now we'll see what are the contents in partnership deed. So in a partnership deed or in an agreement, what all should be specified. Okay. Now before that, just have a look at the format of partnership deed. So it is like this. Okay. Now we'll see the contents of partnership deed. So what all should be mentioned in the partnership agreement. First is name of the firm, the name of the business firm's name, the nature of proposed business, what type of business the partners are carrying on. Next, duration of partnership, whether the partnership is formed for a fixed period of time or just to complete a specified task. Okay, sometimes the partners may enter into an agreement to complete a particular task. After the job is completed, the partnership comes to an end. Okay, so the duration of partnership should be mentioned in the agreement. Next is capital contribution. So when two or more partners carry on the business, say for example A, B and C is carrying on the business, partnership business, and if D is admitted to the partnership firm, D will bring in some capital. Okay. So each and every partner may bring in some capital. So what is the capital contributed by each partner should be mentioned in the agreement. Sometimes certain partners, they may not bring in capital. Instead, they will have some kind of skills, managerial abilities, okay, instead of capital. Next one is withdrawal from the firm. So in some partners, if they have contributed some amount as capital, they may also withdraw some amount from the capital contributed. So that is known as withdrawals or drawings. So what amount the each partner has withdrawn, to maximum how much they can withdraw, all that should be stated in the agreement. The amount that can be withdrawn from the firm by each partner, maximum how much each partner can withdraw from the partnership firm, should be stated in the partnership agreement. Now, profit and loss sharing. Suppose if there are three partners A, B and C. Okay. And if they have decided to share the profits and loss in the ratio of their capital contribution. A is bringing in 1 lakh as capital. B is bringing in 2 lakhs as capital. And C is bringing in 3 lakh as capital. Okay. In that case, if they agree that they will share the profits and loss in the ratio of capital contribution, the profit sharing ratio will be 1:2:3. That means A will get 1/6 of the profit, B will get 2/6 of the profit, and C will get 3/6 of the profits. Similarly, in case of loss also. Okay. But if the agreement does not specify any profit sharing ratio, in that case, all the partners will share the profits and the loss equally. That is 1:1:1 ratio. Okay. So the profit sharing ratio should be mentioned in the partnership deed. If the partnership deed does not specify the profit sharing ratio, in that case the partners will share the profits and loss equally. Okay. Next one is interest on capital. Interest on capital means when a partner brings in some capital to the business, okay, the firm is liable to pay some interest on that amount. Okay, so that is known as interest on capital. Now, if the partners, say for example, A, B, C are partners, okay, and D is another partner who is newly admitted, he is bringing in 5 lakhs as capital. Okay, in that case, ABC will decide whether to make to give interest on this capital. If they decide to give interest on this capital, say for example 5%, then it should be mentioned in the agreement. Okay, but if the agreement does not mention anything about the interest on capital, in that case, the Partnership Act 1932 have certain rules for interest on capital that will prevail. Okay, according to Indian Partnership Act, no interest on capital is allowed to any partner. But if the partners they themselves decide to provide interest on capital to a certain partner, then it should be stated in the agreement. Okay. Now, next one, interest on drawings. This also, if a particular partner withdraws some amount from the business, the partner has to pay some interest to the firm. Okay. But as per the Partnership Act, no interest on drawings is to be charged. But if the partners decide to charge interest on drawings, then what percentage they are charging, it should be mentioned in the partnership agreement or partnership deed. Next, loans from partners. So some partners, they will lend some amount as loan to the business, to the other partners, to the firm. So that is known as loan. Okay. So that the firm must provide interest on that loan. Okay. So what rate of interest will be charged? It should be will be payable. It should be mentioned in the agreement. Okay. And if suppose nothing is mentioned in the agreement regarding the loan, then 6% is usually charged as per the Indian Partnership Act. Okay, 6% of the loan amount. Next, account keeping. How the partnership firm maintains the books of accounts, what system they follow, it should be mentioned. Salary and commission to partners. So, as per the Indian Partnership Act, no salary or no commission is provided to any partners, is given to any partner. But if the partners decide to provide salary, to give salary to a particular partner for his contribution, extra contribution to the firm, okay, or to give commission to a particular partner, in that case, if the partners they themselves decide, then it should be mentioned in the agreement. Okay. Next is retirement or death. If a partner passes away or if a partner retires from the firm, in that case, what are the procedures to be followed? How the accounts of the retiring partners has to be settled? It should be stated in the partnership deed. Deceased means if a partner passes away, dies, okay, then how the accounts will be settled, to whom the amounts will be given, settlements will be made. It should be mentioned in the partnership agreement. Next one is goodwill valuation. Now, goodwill means what? In the first chapter accountancy, we learned goodwill is the reputation of the business. Okay, that is an intangible asset and it has some value. Okay, so we have to calculate the value of goodwill when a new partner is admitted, or if a partner passes away, or in case if a partner retires. So the value of the goodwill must be revalued. Again, you have to value it. Okay, and that method valuation, you have so many methods to value goodwill. What method the firm is following, it should be mentioned in the partnership agreement or partnership deed. Next, distribution of responsibility. What work is being handed over to each and every partner must be mentioned in the deed. Next is dissolution procedure. Now, dissolution means winding up or closure or coming to an end. Okay. So, in case of dissolution, closing of the firm, what is the mode of settlements of accounts? It should be mentioned in the agreement. Next one is arbitration of dispute. Arbitration means the procedure. Okay. So, in case of any conflict between partners, how the what is the procedure to settle the disputes, whether it will be through the legislation, through the court, okay, or how it will be handled, it should be stated in the partnership deed. Okay, now this is a very very important question repeatedly asked. What is partnership deed and what are the contents in partnership deed? Usually it is asked in 3-mark question. When it is asked in 3-mark question, you will write the meaning of partnership deed and write only the side headings. Contents of partnership, you will contents of partnership deed, you will write only the side headings. Okay. Whereas if it is asked for 5-mark question, you will write the meaning and write all the contents, the side headings, and explain any 5. Okay. Next. Rights and duties of partners. Now the rights and the duties of the partners, it will be mentioned in the partnership deed. Suppose if it is not mentioned, then whatever provisions are stated in the Indian Partnership Act, that will be applied. Okay. Now first we'll see what are the rights of partnership or rights of a partner. Right to take part in the business. Every partner has a right to take part in the management of the business. Suppose if there are 3 partners A, B and C, all the 3 partners have equal rights to take part in the management of the business. Next, right to be consulted. Suppose if the partners wants to take some decision which affects the routine matters of the firm, in that case, whatever the majority, whatever is the majority, okay, that will be taken as a final decision. Whereas if the matter is concerned with high level importance like admission of a new partner, in such cases, okay, then it will be, the decisions will have to be consulted with all the partners. All the partners should take the should accept the decision. Okay, only then the decision will be finalized. So every partner has a right to be consulted. If one partner is taking a decision, they have to get the consultation from the other partners also. Okay, get the opinion. Next, right to access to books, records and documents. So every partner has a right to examine the books of accounts. So whenever they want, they can examine all the books of accounts. Okay, every partner has an equal right, and they can also take a copy of the books of accounts. Next, right to share profit. So every partner has a right to share the profits of the business in the agreed ratio. The ratio will be mentioned in the agreement. Suppose if the ratio is not stated in the agreement, then every partner has a right to share the profits equally. Okay, profits and the loss equally. Right to receive interest. So if suppose one partner has given loan to the firm, okay, in that case the partner A is entitled to receive an interest at the agreed rate. The rate of interest, say for example 10%. It will be stated in the agreement. Okay. But if this 10% is not stated in the agreement, then interest will be provided at 6% per annum. Okay. So interest on loan will be provided at 6% per annum. This they may ask for 1 mark question. Interest on loan at 6% per annum. Next one, right to be indemnified. Okay. Indemnified means to make good the loss. To indemnify means to make good the loss. Okay. Now, suppose if there are 3 partners A, B and C. Because of C's negligence or carelessness, some loss happens to the firm. Then C alone need not suffer the loss. The loss has to be borne by all the partners. Okay. That means A and B also should indemnify the loss, to make good the loss, to compensate the loss suffered by C. Okay. Now this C has the right to get back the amount spent by him on behalf of the firm. Only thing is, he must have acted prudently. Prudently means for the benefit of the firm he has done something, but it had incurred a loss for the firm. Okay. Thinking that it will be beneficial for the firm, he has done something, but it has incurred a loss for the business, for the firm. In such case, and C has spent some amount to compensate that loss. Okay. In such case, A and B has to reimburse, has to return that amount to C. Okay. So that is what it is said here. He has a further right to receive back any amount spent by him on behalf of the firm. Only thing, he must have acted prudently. Prudently means in a way that shows care and thought for future. He thought something better for the future and has done some act, but unfortunately it has led to a loss for the business. Okay. Now, right to use the partnership property for the business. So every partner can use the firm's property only for the business purpose, not for the personal purpose. Okay. Next, right to retire. So every partner has the right to retire. Whenever he wants to come out of the firm, they have the right to come out. But only thing is, they have to give a prior notice to the other partners. And if it is at will, out of his own will, if a partner is coming out of the business, he has to give a 14 days notice period to the other partners. Okay. Next, right to continue. Every partner has a right to continue in the business. No partner can say you should go out of the business from this month. No. So they have the right to continue in the business. Out of their own will, they can come out. Okay. Next. So that's all the rights of the partners. So what are the rights we saw? Rights and duties of partners. First we saw the rights. Right to take part in the business, right to be consulted, right to access to the books, records and the documents, right to share profits, right to receive interest, right to be indemnified, and right to use the firm's property for the business, right to retire and right to continue. Now, this question you will read line by line fully. Rights of partners, read line by line fully, understand the meaning. But for assignment, you will write only the side headings. Okay. Learn and write without seeing only the side headings. Inside you just read and understand the meaning, so that if it is asked for 5 marks, you will be able to explain it. Okay. And if it is asked for 3 marks, just write only the side headings. Duties of partners. First one is duty to carry on the business. So every partner is dutiful. Okay, they are obliged to do the business for the benefit of the firm as a whole. Okay, not for the individual. They should not do anything for their individual benefit. They should not make any secret profit. They should work for the firm, for the benefit of all the partners. Duty to be true. Every partner must be true and just and faithful to one another. They should not they should not cheat anyone. They should be truthful and faithful. Okay, so there must be utmost good faith and fair dealings. Next, duty to render true accounts. So every partner, whatever expenses they have incurred or whatever transaction they have undergone, for everything the transactions and accounts should be maintained very truthful, and for all the transactions they should give the vouchers and it should be recorded. Okay, so a partner is bound to keep and render true and full accounts of partnership. He must produce relevant vouchers for the expenses incurred by him and hand over the firm all the amounts which have come into his hands as a partner. Okay. Next, duty to indemnify the firm. So because of some act, A, B, C are partners. Because of some act done by C, the firm incurs a loss of 1 lakh. Okay. In such case, C is obliged to reimburse this loss to the firm. Okay. Because of his negligence, the firm has incurred such loss. In that case, C has to make good the loss, indemnify the loss to the firm. Next, duty to share the loss. In case if the firm incurs a loss for a particular year, that loss has to be borne by all the partners in the agreed ratio which will be stated in the agreement. But if the in the agreement, if it is not mentioned, the profit sharing ratio is not mentioned, then they have to bear the loss equally. Okay. Next, duty to claim remuneration. So remuneration means a kind of salary or commission paid to the partners. Okay. Suppose if there are two partners, A, B, C, sorry, three partners, and B has very good managerial skills, and because of his extra performance in the work, B has to be paid a salary. Okay, and A and C decided to give salary to B. In that case, this has to be mentioned in the agreement. Okay, why? Because as per the Indian Partnership Act, no salary is paid to the partners. Okay, no salary or no commission to be paid to the partners. But in case if the partners, they themselves decide to pay the salary or commission to the partners, it should be stated in the agreement. Okay, so see here, no partner, including the managing partner, is entitled to any remuneration, salary or commission for the work done by him unless there is an agreement to the contrary. If there is an agreement, it's okay. But if there is no agreement regarding the salary or remuneration, then no salary is provided to any partner. Next, duty not to use the firm's property for personal use. So no partner can use the firm's property for his personal use. Only for the business purpose they can use the firm's property. Okay. Next one is duty not to carry on competing business. Say for example, three partners A, B, C are doing a business. C alone is starting the same business, okay, and making profits, okay, without the knowledge of A and B. That is not, it should not be done. Okay, that type of business should not be done because C is starting a competing business and made many profit. But if A and B comes to know that C has started a business and he has made so much of profit, then C has to give all the profits for the firm A, B and C Limited. Okay. No partner can carry on competing business. If he does so, he should surrender. Surrender means give away. Okay. to the firm all the profits earned by him in such business. No partners is allowed to earn secret profit. Next, duty to act within the scope of authority. So, authority means the power. So, every partner will have some powers, okay, but he should not act beyond his powers, okay. Now, duty to consult other partners before assigning or transferring his interest in partnership. In our example ABC, if A wants to appoint D as a partner instead of A, okay, he cannot do so, but he should get the consultation from B and C. After consulting, if they accept only, he can appoint. Otherwise, out of his will, he cannot transfer his interest in the partnership. So, no partners can assign or transfer without the consent of all the other partners his interest in the firm to any other persons, so as to make him a partner thereof. Okay. Now again, the duties of partners also go through, read line by line, understand the meaning. For assignment, write only the side heading. Learn and write without seeing. Okay. So if you remember the side headings, you can know, if it is asked for 5 marks, you can write in your own words, explain in your own words. That's why I say read and understand the meaning once. Okay.